Welcome back to Money Mavs. I'm Dylan, and this is Josh. Excited to be back for another episode. A few of our previous conversations, we've talked briefly about the idea of scarcity versus abundance mindset, but we wanted to have a very specific conversation today about the difference between those two mindsets and how they affect your wealth, how they affect your personal finances. Maybe you've had the thought before, right? I'll never have enough money. That would probably put you in the scarcity mindset. Or maybe you've had the thought, oh, there's plenty of opportunity out there. Kind of puts you in the abundance category. But these are two ways of kind of thinking about money that shape your financial future. And we kind of want to unpack them. And so, as we've talked about, the way you think about money, whether from one of those two mindsets, affects your wealth building potential. And Josh and I believe that with community, accountability, and discipline, you can shift from scarcity to abundance. But Josh, let's just briefly kind of unpack to you, what is scarcity mindset?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, really, in a lot of ways, why we created this Discord and this community in the first place really is to just, and this is where our name comes from, is we just want to help people think differently about finances, because most people think finances comes down to, hey, here's how much I'm bringing in. Like it's a, line item kind of thing. And that is part of it, of course. But more important than just how much you're bringing in, what is more important is how you think about finances and your behavior towards them. So anyways, all that to say, what is a scarcity mindset? Well, a scarcity mindset really is just focusing on limitations and believing that there's never enough money or opportunities or resources to go around, which, I mean, come on, we live in America, so that is totally false, right? Like there's always more opportunity. People with a scarcity mindset may feel that every financial decision is a zero-sum game, leading to fear and stress and hoarding behaviors and trying to take it in. There's this almost like this temptation sometimes with this scarcity mindset. Like I need to cut every single dollar and line item as I can. And there's something to be said about that, honestly. Like we need to try and eliminate superfluous expenditures. But at the same time, it's like, that's not what you should be focusing on. What you should be focusing on instead is hey, here's how I can get ahead, right? So, how do you think scarcity affects financial behavior, Dylan?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I briefly mentioned this in a previous video, but I'm actually kind of personally impacted, by the scarcity mindset because of my upbringing and the family I grew up in. I shared in a previous video just how excess, abundance was not something that existed in my family growing up. I always had everything I needed, but there was not a lot of room for extra. And so in me as a young adult, that created in me initially when I first entered the workforce, it created in me a few things: an overcautiousness with money, a fear of taking financial risk, and an inability to invest in long-term wealth building strategies because I was just scared. I was scared that there wasn't going to be enough and I had to hold on tightly. But what's funny about that is that it should result in the opposite, honestly. It is what we're going to learn and talk about. So that's it.
Yeah. So it should ultimately result in what is an abundance, mindset, which, to contrast that with a scarcity mindset, an abundance mindset is really believing that there's always enough to go around, right? And opportunities for wealth and growth are limitless, and again, this really does, frankly, come down to the psychology of how we think about not just finances, although that's, what we focus on and everything, but really it comes down to everything. Like, are you focused on an abundance mindset where you believe that you can get ahead, or are you focused on a scarcity mindset where you're like, I need to try and grasp and hold on to everything? And it really is like a mental, psychological kind of thing that all of us to one degree or another struggle with. Like, people with an abundance mindset believe in creating and growing and sharing wealth without fear of running out. Whereas an abundance or a scarcity mindset, they're afraid of losing what they already do have. And it's like, stop worrying. Again, you don't want to be irresponsible or anything, right? You don't want to be worried about like, you don't want to be scared of like I'm going to lose everything I have. But at the same time, it's like, hey, I have this in order to make more, right? Dylan, I'm curious, what do you think? How does abundance affect financial behavior? Like, what do you think in your own mind?
Yeah, I'm just thinking how it definitely channeled in the wrong direction. Abundance mindset could be very dangerous because the same abundant mindset that results in some of the healthy patterns I'm going to share also could result in like, hey, let me take my entire life savings and put it into cryptocurrency,
Yeah.
And we know that's probably not a good long-term, investment strategy. But some of the things that the abundance mindset healthily channeled in the proper community and context should channel, right? Is number one, a confidence in investing and taking calculated financial risks. Emphasis on calculated, right? Secondly, it should create a focus on long-term growth and wealth accumulation. Thirdly, a generosity and sharing of wealth.
I love that one. I love that one, by the way.
Absolutely. And we'll unpack that. And lastly, a viewing of kind of a mindset of viewing setbacks as opportunities to learn and grow rather than failures. And this is my story. This is my journey. Going from scarcity to abundance. I feel like with proper community, I've been able to step into some of those qualities. Kind of unpack how you've experienced that.
Yeah, you've shared your story a little bit already on our channel a little bit. And I've shared mine as well, where it's like I kind of grew up in that sort of situation where it was like we had a lot, and I don't say that with like an arrogant attitude at all. I say that with a grateful attitude, frankly. But how mindset impacts wealth building. It's like there can be this, fear of investing or starting a business due to a belief that money is limited. Sometimes like an overemphasis on saving without understanding the need for strategic growth. And not that we're like giving financial advice or anything like that, but there does need to be that mindset again of like, hey, I have a little bit extra money. You have one of two options here. Should I like stockpile it away? Or should I, invest it in an asset that might be a little bit risky and it might go down, but more than likely it's going to go up, and sometimes it can be scary to watch assets go up and down. But, again, it comes down to this mindset of scarcity versus abundance. And it's like with people who have this abundance mindset, they're like, hey, I'm going to invest in that because, it's an appreciating asset, not like a car or, some kind of toy or boat or whatever. It's, a stock or, a house or something like that. They're going to invest in something that's going to go up so that ultimately they can produce more for themselves. It's really what it comes down to is I'm using money to make more money for myself, because abundance encourages wealth. You want to talk really quickly about how abundance mindset might open up opportunities for financial success. Any thoughts on that, Dylan?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm even just thinking about how I talk about money when I'm with my wife. As we're strategically just thinking and planning about our future and heading the direction we want to go. Even as practically, both of us grew up in similar kind of home environments. Where there was always what we needed, but not necessarily a ton of extra. And because of that, when we first got married, naturally, our mindset was to adopt like, hey, what if there's not enough, right?
Yeah.
And now that's shifted to like, hey, there is a possibility that we could be really wealthy one day if we play our cards right now, right? And so that shift has, rather than stress us out and discourage us, has encouraged us to and given us optimism in long-term wealth building strategies, trying to create multiple streams of income, such as I mean, even just trying to start a side business. I've had a few side hustles over the last 2 years. Being willing to learn new skills, that sort of thing.
Yes.
And even a resilience in the face of a setback. It would be super easy in the face of, I was just sharing with you off camera how I signed up for a stupid subscription service that I shouldn't have signed up for, right? And lost money on it, and it's like,
been there.
That small setback could have totally discouraged me, and I could have thought I'm never going to, whatever. Instead, it's like, nope, opportunity to learn and grow. Let's just use it for the next time. And so a lot of this comes down to just the people you surround yourself with. We've been talking about this.
100%.
Right? So talk to me about the role of community in this kind of abundance versus scarcity world.
Yeah, I mean, we've shared this quote here several times, or this, not necessarily a quote, but this sentiment, I guess, for lack of better terms. It's like, the people who you surround yourself with is who you're going to become. And again, that's true of, you as a person as it relates to your character. That's true of a person as it relates to your family dynamics. And that's true of a person as it relates to your finances as well. And so it's like, who you choose to surround yourself with as it relates to your finances is really going to shape how you view and think about finances. So as great as your parents and siblings and friends are with finances, you want to think through, like, are they the best people to really surround yourself with, who are going to help inspire you and motivate you and help you remain disciplined, really, when it comes to moving forward in your finances. So really, it comes down to building an abundance-focused community. We're a broken record at this point, but building an abundance-focused community. And this is what Money Mavericks is really intended to do. Like, we want to help people think differently about finances, because so often it's easy to get stuck in this rut of financial thinking where it's like, I don't have enough, right? And so, really, and if I could get even more granular here, the power of accountability in shifting our mindsets. Accountability with partners or groups can help reinforce an abundance mindset by challenging those limiting beliefs and promoting positive financial habits. An accountability partner, as it relates to anything, but especially finances, who pushes you to take risks and invest or pursue higher paying job, can help counteract that scarcity thinking. Dylan, share with us, just really quickly, a few brief tips of how to build accountability in finances, because frankly, it can be really weird to talk about finances with people, and it can be really uncomfortable to like open up about your finances, but nonetheless, we have to do the hard things in order to get forward.
So if you want to build accountability on taking on an abundance mindset, right? You want to learn how to have an abundance mindset. Start with, number one, partner with someone else who also has or already has an abundance mindset, and regularly meet with them, regularly check in on each other's financial progress and goals. Number two, join accountability groups where members are setting financial goals, tracking progress, and supporting each other in taking strategic risks. And number three, use tools. Gosh, we're going to say this a million times, but use tools like a budgeting app or a goal tracking platform to keep each other on track. A few of these things are what you and I have done. I mean, you and I, through the work we found ourselves in, discovered that, we have very similar mindsets. We think very similarly about money and about the future. And we decided to take a calculated risk by starting Money Maps, right? We've financially invested in this decision to start this community. We don't know what it's going to be. It may not pan out, and it might pan out. Who knows? But we're passionate about the world of personal finance, and we believe the opportunity and the space for a community like this exists and is needed. And so that's what has led us here. And so as we've talked about kind of those three tips, right? I mean, explain a little bit deeper where discipline comes into this.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And discipline can sound like such a negative thing sometimes, but honestly, it's one of my favorite things to talk about, because I feel like it's been something that I've really been growing in just over the last 12 months. Not to sound cliche, but it really has been. And so discipline really is essential to maintaining an abundance mindset because it requires long-term thinking, And it's like, if I'm going to be a disciplined individual, it's not just, hey, I'm going to be disciplined for today. No. Discipline by its very nature is I'm going to be disciplined over the long term. And long term isn't, today or next week or this month or even this year. Discipline really is over, several years to put the things in action consistently, and the ability to stay the course during setbacks when things don't always go your way. For example, like the discipline to invest consistently, even when the market is down, right? Like the markets go up and down, right? It's just going to happen. It is what it is. Or the discipline to budget and save for the long term. And this is why like a community is so important, because we already know these things. Like you already know, like, hey, it's important to invest. Hey, it's important to budget. Hey, it's important to save for the long. We already know these things. And yet most of us, we don't do them for one reason or another. Why? Because we don't have the accountability to do it. Like,
that's right.
If you have the accountability, if you have the community to back you and be behind you, that's where it really comes down to. And so there's like, three, like cliche maybe, but here's 3 little tips. Dylan, you want to share them really quick? 3 tips to build financial discipline.
Yep. A lot of them are the same tips we've already been sharing. But it's start small, whether that's, in your savings and your investments, or in your kind of practice of trying to build this mindset, right? With somebody. Find what that is. Start small. Don't try to tackle everything at once. You'll be too overwhelmed. Let those habits and things build on each other. Number 2, practice delayed gratification. Focus on long-term wealth rather than instant spending or, what you find yourself in that scarcity mindset, right? That's the shift. Focus on long-term wealth. That requires instant delayed gratification. And then just reframe, as we talked about, reframe setbacks as learning opportunities, not failures. This keeps you resilient and keeps you disciplined in pursuing your long-term goals. That's it. So,
no, it's so good. Again, we can share practical tips, till we're blue in the face, but really what it comes down to, honestly, is like there's a difference between a scarcity and abundance mindset and how these mindsets influence our wealth. And again, we know the things to do. We always do. But the reason we don't do them, because it's like, you watch this, 30-second video, this 30-second reel or whatever short on YouTube, and you're like, oh, that's a really good tip and everything. But then you don't actually do it. And the reason is, we are so passionate about this at Money Mavericks, that the reason that you don't follow through with that short video that you watched that was a really good tip, the reason you don't do it is because you don't have community behind it.
That's right.
You have to have community and accountability behind it, and the discipline can help shift from that scarcity to that abundance mindset. And so really, it's up to you to identify, 1, maybe 2 areas where you've been thinking with a scarcity mindset and take action to reframe it with an abundance mindset. Be a part of our community. Be a part of Money Mavericks. We will literally help you with step-by-step action and plan to help take you from scarcity to abundance. Reach out to a friend. Join our community. We'll hold you accountable in shifting you from that scarcity to abundance mindset. And we have challenges on a regular basis to help you develop an abundance mindset with small daily actions. So we'd love to have you be a part. Again, thanks so much for joining us. We hope you have an incredible rest of your day. Dylan, any closing thoughts or anything?
No, just thinking a little bit practically. I mean, you've already just challenged, people to join our community. I just wanted to share a little bit about kind of as we're building out this Discord community and what we're hoping it will be, a little bit of what that'll look like. We're going to have kind of a free level where it's just a space for people to join and to be a part of the conversation and to start building relationships. But then we will, at some time or another, start including some more premium tiers that unlock certain levels of intentionality and accountability in this world for you. And so just to give that a heads up of kind of where we're kind of dreaming and where we're planning and heading with this community, it's still being built out right now. And so we invite you to just come and jump in for the ride. But yeah, I just wanted to give a quick glimpse of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, hey, like our channel, share it, be a part of our community, shoot us a message. We'll personally respond to you. We'd love to build a relationship with you, and we'll see you next time.